Our scripture readings today begin with a reading from the Epistle of James. I'll be reading from chapter 3, verse 13 through chapter 4, verse 3, and then verses 7 and 8. It's actually 8a, which means I'll be leaving off the last half of the verse. Listen to the word of God. Who is wise and understanding among you? Show by your good life that your works are done with gentleness, born of wisdom. But if you have bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not be boastful and false to the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from above, but is earthly, unspiritual, devilish. For where there is envy and selfish ambition, there will also be disorder and wickedness of every kind. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, and without a trace of partiality or hypocrisy. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace for those who make peace. Those conflicts and disputes among you, where do they come from? Do they not come from your cravings that are at war within you? You want something you do not have, so you commit murder. You covet something and cannot obtain it, so you engage in disputes and conflicts. You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask wrongly in order to spend what you get on your pleasures. Submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Chapter 9, verses 30 through 37. Listen once again to the word of God. They went forth from there and passed through Galilee. He did not want anyone to know it, for he was teaching his disciples, saying to them, "The Son of Man is to be betrayed into human hands, and they will kill him. And 3 days after being killed, he will rise again." But they did not understand what he was saying, and were afraid to ask him. Then they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they were silent. For on the way, they had argued with one another about who was the greatest. He sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "Whoever wants to be the first must be last of all, and servant of all." Then he took a little child and put it among them, and taking it in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." Lord, I want to be a Christian. cute story, the story about the two kids, and each of them thought that the other, their parents loved the other better than the one. And it'd be really cute if that was limited to the way children think, right? But it's not really limited to the way children think, is it? We human beings tend to think that, we kind of contend with each other, don't we? You know, she thinks she's so great, she has a nicer house than I do, or he thinks he's so great because he, mows his lawn so perfectly. I pointed at you, so it's kind of a joke. I don't need it. So, let me ask you this. Did you enjoy the bell choir? I really enjoyed the bell choir. Some places, this is the best bell choir of any church that I've ever been to. I know there are better and fancier bell choirs someplace, but a lot of places the bell choir is like that. One of the places where Sherry and I served quite a while ago, the bell choir was like this. The director of the bell choir would strong arm 2 or 3 people into playing that morning, and so they would practice for about 5 minutes before church, and then play during worship, right? And so you would sit there and watch them playing, and they were going, because every one of them was deathly afraid that they were going to make a mistake. And so I think it's a great blessing for us that this bell choir, they spend long hours practicing and getting ready, and I thought they did a great job this morning. And besides that, it's a pleasure to see, because you don't see people who are overcome with angst, you just see people who are making a joyful noise. Now, I don't really play bells, but I just wanted to do one bell. Does it sound like a bell choir to you? It doesn't, does it? All right, it doesn't. How about if I play one of these other bells? Makes kind of a pleasant sound, doesn't it? But is it a bell choir? No, it's not. Okay, I could go through all of them, but I'm not going to. Which one's the best? Yeah, you bell choir people whine. It's fun, best. Well, see, that's the whole message of the bell choir. The bell choir is one of the little ways that we get the message that Jesus is trying to tell us. The message that Jesus is trying to tell us, and the message in the letter of James is that contending with each other over who's the greatest is absurd, right? With one bell all by itself is nothing, isn't that right? All the bells together, if they practice and play, in the time that they're supposed to and stuff like that, keep time with each other and they create a wonderful harmony and a wonderful melody that we can all enjoy, and it's very relaxing to hear and beautiful, right? They create beauty it's true, isn't it? Yeah. And one bell all by itself, well, it creates a pleasant sound, but it just can't do what the bell choir can do. And so in order for the G to make beautiful music, it has to cooperate. It has to become the servant of all the other bells. And all the bells have to become servants of each other. Servant of all. Now, interestingly enough, Jesus tells the disciples that he's going to be betrayed into human hands, and that the human beings are going to kill him. But on the third day, He'll arise from the dead in order to show a new way, in order to turn the world upside down, in order to transform everything. And here is the way that Jesus plans to transform everything. Before the cross, everybody is for themselves. Each person is bragging about who's the greatest, and each person is saying, well, I earned this money and bought this wonderful house, so this is mine, and you will stay out in the streets, or you will stay off my lawn. Did you ever see that Clint Eastwood movie? Get off my lawn! But after the cross, some of us, some of the time, have started acting like a bell choir, isn't that right? After the cross and after the appearances of the risen Christ, then the lives of the disciples were transformed, and all of a sudden these guys who completely didn't get what Jesus was talking about, these guys who were walking down the road after he's tried to tell them about what he's up to and how he's going to transform the world, these guys, they're still arguing with each other. I'm the greatest. No, I'm the greatest. Well, if Jesus is going to die, I'll be the one to take over. I'll be the main guy, and you guys can all follow me, right? And yet, through the experience of the cross and the resurrection, these guys are transformed. And they go out into the world and begin to transform the world one place at a time. One place at a time, one person at a time. And that transformation is still going on. Now, is it over with? Well, let me ask you this. Do any of you ever go around saying, we're number one, right? And it's an ongoing battle, isn't it? It's a thing that we have to work on all the time. We're very proud, aren't we, that how many pounds? 1,176 pounds of groceries are downstairs for us to deliver next week to the food pantry, along with whatever else is being gathered in the ensuing week. And we're very proud of that. We'll gladly go to people who go to another church and say, our church, won't we? Our church raised 14 or 15 or 2,112 or however many pounds it is, and the food bank is really lucky to have a church like ours. So in other words, the disciples' misunderstanding is our misunderstanding. We still continue to misunderstand a little bit. So we have to work on this. We have to pray with this, right? We have to do what we can to be the people who Jesus is transforming. And Jesus will transform you. Jesus will transform each of us if we turn, as we said in the time of reconciliation, if we turn our heads in the direction of Jesus and ask, then we will be transformed. We will be suffused with love. We will become the ones who welcome not only adorable little children like the ones that were sitting with me on the steps, but not so adorable people as well, because there are plenty of those. But and what we're being called on to do is to welcome each one, as Jesus has first of all welcomed us. Jesus has first of all welcomed us, even though Jesus knows full well not only the things that we do outwardly that don't match up with what he was trying to tell us to do. But one thing that each of us knows, isn't it, that not only do we behave badly sometimes, but if anybody ever knew our heart, knew what we were thinking about inside about some of these other people and stuff like that, that'd be really bad, right? But the cool thing about it is that Jesus knows that too. And extends to you completely in love, and extends to me completely in love, even though the old-fashioned way of saying it is, even while we're still sinners, Jesus calls to us and says, come to me, and you will be transformed. Amen. It's prayers of the people tonight. Last night we had a wedding. It was a beautiful wedding. A nice young couple who are now Mr. and Mrs. Coy and Terry Hester. And they were a good-looking couple, weren't they? Some of us were here. And it was a beautiful wedding. And so prayers today then for the love that's brought those two together, and hopefully that love will be part of the love that transforms the world. What other prayers do we have today?
I want to thank everybody for their prayers. Really much better. My blood pressure under control, my shingles are really gone.
All right. And we're glad to have you at full strength. And I guess we could pray a prayer, since we probably, by the time we all gather here next week, your son Justin will be married. And so we can pray a prayer of thanksgiving for that, and pray a prayer that the love that draws those two young people together will be part of the love that transforms the world. Justin and Aaron. Yes.
A friend of mine, and a friend of mine from college, and a friend of Mary Carnes, that we need to remember her, is also suffering from cancer that probably is not going well at this point. His name is Doug Hester. And he is from Hermosa. He's a master gardener, and he's very ill.
Okay. Prayers for Doug Hester, who's having a tough battle with cancer. Prayers for Mary Picardo, who's having a tough battle with cancer. And Tom, who's also having a tough battle. Yes. Paige Schneller.
Peg.
Peg.
They had her prayer service on Thursday.
So for the family and loved ones of Peg Schneller, who has passed away. Yes.
Continued need for rain.
Yes. Yes, let's pray for rain. I'm going to put a line in it. Yes.
For all those people traveling.
Oh, the traveling mercies for those visitors who are with us today, who are going to be traveling on their way back home, and for all people trying to find their way home. Yes.
I saw Bonnie Cook last weekend, and she said to greet everyone and tell you that she misses you.
So, a prayer of mercy for Bonnie Cook. Mercy for, having left Savannah. And as was pointed out in the beginning of our service today, the flowers on the altar are for Fran's twin sister, Arlie Clayton. Oh, I got that wrong. I apologize. But I always say during a funeral service is that grief is real. And then I promise people that it passes. But here's the other part, and I never say this in a funeral service, but maybe I should. It's real, and it passes, but it never passes completely, does it? I mean, we come back around to the anniversary of our loved one's death, or we come back around to some event that the two of us usually shared together, and you know, maybe we're not overwhelmed by grief when that happens, but once again, we feel a little bump of pain, and we remember, you know, in sort of a way, it's a good thing. In sort of a way, it kind of reminds us of how much love and beauty was created between the two of us. And so prayers then today for Arlie and for Fran and for all the love and beauty that was created between them. Are there other prayers this morning? Yes.
Our grandson Jimmy is getting married Saturday in Mitchell.
Yeah. So we have kind of weddings all around, it seems like. Okay, let's pray then. Oh Jesus, you come into our lives even though we are imperfect people. You come into our lives and draw us together in love as you have drawn Coy and Terry and Justin and Aaron and Jimmy and his beloved. And you've drawn together many of the people here in this room, and they have created and will create a great deal of beauty and moved in the direction of transforming the world as you have lived and died to transform the world. And so our prayers today are that beauty continues to be created with the love that you have first of all initiated in each of these marriages and all the marriages of those we know might continue to be the love that will one day transform the world and create the new Jerusalem here in Custer and here in our world. We're praying today for the return to health of Doug Hester and Mary Picarna. We're praying for the loved ones of Peg Scheller. And we're praying for all those who knew and loved Arlie Mooney. We're praying a prayer of traveling mercies today for our wonderful visitors who are with us this morning, and for all those who are visiting our town, and for all those who are trying to find their way home. And we're praying a prayer today of blessing that was created when Bonnie and Deech Cook were among us, and is continues to be created whenever we think of them. And we're praying once again for a little more moisture, a little more rain. Well, maybe a week of steady, slow rain. We are your thankful people today. We're thankful that you have loved us, though you and we are well aware of our shortcomings. We're thankful for all the ways that love has found us. The love between each of us and our spouse, the love between all of us and our children and our siblings. We're thankful to live in the beautiful Black Hills and be able to exchange, share our lives together here. We're thankful, most of all, for your life and death and teachings and resurrection, and for teaching us to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come,